You've got about 5 seconds when I hit your website to show me something useful. If I don't see something useful in 5 seconds, I'll press that button and I'll go to your competitor's website. So the number one thing is to make your website fast. And I can't tell you how many websites are so slow. And they're so slow because people have put in their pictures and flash and animations and things which were a good idea at the time, but probably are not a good idea. The number one thing we want is speed. The number two thing we want is to be user-friendly. What does user-friendly mean? It means people can find what they want. Users can use the site. How do you tell if your site is user-friendly? You don't ask your IT people. You don't ask your marketing people. You don't ask your president or the president's spouse, because they are probably not your market. What you ask is the typical user. And often you find the typical user is actually quite stupid. Well, okay, then you better have a site that is user-friendly for quite stupid people. So you fit your site to your user. And that means look at language. And language has two aspects. First of all, if your site is multilingual, if you're trying to appeal to tourists in Germany, then the site better be in German, don't you think? And the entire site. I can't tell you how annoying it is when you go to a site and it starts off being in a language you can understand. And then gradually, as it gets more interesting, the language you can understand goes away. And suddenly you're left with a language you can't understand. So we need to get the whole site in a language that our market can understand. And it's not just a question of the language in the tongue, it's a question of tone, the way in which we speak. If I go to a website, I don't expect to read the language of a company's annual report. And I certainly don't expect to read the language of a company's advertising brochures. For example, if we ask people, how much do you trust the following information sources? The very bottom one is corporate blogs. Now, why would that be? Well, let's take a look at a corporate blog. This is Walmart's corporate blog. Now, do you trust that? No, because this is not a blog. This is not somebody writing what they think. This is advertising. And we all know not to trust advertising. So if you want people to trust your website, we've got to use not only the language they understand, but the tone they understand. Not a marketing, selling tone, not a corporate speak tone, but a natural tone. Next thing, we need to make sure that our site works in all browsers. Now, Internet Explorer is still the market leader for web browsers, but it only has about 2/3 of the market. So if your site doesn't work in browsers other than Internet Explorer, you have just written off 1/3 of the market. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that other 1/3 of the market might be quite important to you. And of course, Firefox has got 21%, and then Safari, and then Google's browser, and then some of the minor ones. And it's not hard to build sites that work in every browser. And you should be doing that. And by the way, population of the world is 6.6 billion. We've got about 1.6 billion internet users, I said, about 1.3 billion landline phones, 1.4 billion credit cards. How many mobile phones do you think there are out there? Answer is 3.3 billion at least. In Thailand alone, there are actually more mobile phone subscribers than there are people. Now, that might make you start to wonder, how does my website look on a mobile device? And again, I can't tell you how many people, you go to visit clients, you go to visit a company, you pull up their website on mobile device, you see nothing. Or you see something so slowly that it might as well be nothing. Or the key elements are missing. So it's worth checking, how does your website look on a mobile device? And incidentally, mobile for tourism, I think, is going to be huge. This is an experimental project of augmented reality, they call it. I take my mobile device, I snap a picture of a building. The picture is automatically sent back to the server. The server identifies the building I've taken the picture of, either from the GPS in my phone or by actually recognizing the building. It beams me back additional information that appear as hyperlinks right there on my phone. So I can see, what this room is about, what that room is about. I could take a picture of a road, and it would tell me which way to McDonald's or which way to wherever. It's going to be very, very big. Next thing, video. I said to make the site fast, and indeed fast is important, but video is becoming the killer application on websites. And if I can get video feeding quickly, that looks really, really good, especially on tourism-related sites. And I always advise people to go to this tubemodal.com, which is free. It has some pay services as well, and it will upload your videos to multiple sites around the world. News. News is always important. The newer your site is, the more often it's updated, the more interesting it is to visitors, the better it is for search engines. But you've got to remember, news is like having an elephant. It has to be fed every day. So there's no point in having news if the last new item was 2 months ago. And so when you put news on the website, we need to simultaneously be building the resources within the company to feed that elephant, because it's got to be fed every day. Search. One of the interesting things about digital that's different from regular marketing is that it's not difficult to find customers. Most marketing, traditional marketing, you're going out hammering on doors trying to find customers. In the digital world, the customers are trying to find you, and they're doing it by search. So search, depending how you count, is either the second or third most common thing people do on the internet. We all use search every day. And of course, you need to have a search strategy so that you will be found for the phrases you want to be found for. And search typically comes in two sizes. We've got what are sometimes called the organic or natural listings on the left, and I need to do search engine optimization to get in there, and I have the paid listings on the right, which I call search engine marketing. We know that if you're not in the top 2 or 3 spots, nobody's going to see it. The vast majority of people never go beyond the first 2 or 3 listings. And so the trick is to buy or use phrases that are a little bit different. For example, Thailand vacation, I've got a whole lot of paid ads, and I have a whole lot of websites trying to get high listings for that phrase. If I take a slightly different phrase, Thailand, get away from it all, there's only one ad, and that is actually for an IT company, right? They bought IT. So it's not too bad though, because they only pay for that ad if somebody clicks on it. So search engine optimization, search engine marketing, look for phrases that are a little bit unusual. Google tells us that 20% of the searches done every day have not been done before in the last 90 days. Many searches are unique. So you buy lots and lots of unusual phrases. Interactions lead to transactions. What do I mean by that? Well, most of us are aware of something that's often called the sales funnel. That first of all, I'm aware of a product, I'm aware of a destination, I'm aware of a brand, then I consider whether I like it or not, I form a preference, and finally, I take action. And one of the problems in a downturn is that that funnel gets narrower. So I still have the awareness, I still have the consideration, I still have the preference, but the funnel is narrowed down. And peer